Hey, Mike Wolf here from Entrepreneurs Making a Difference. And this is a show where we introduce you to entrepreneurs from all over the globe and hope that you can collaborate and do bigger and better things together. And today I've got a really amazing individual on the show, just a really big inspiration. I met her when I was volunteering at an event and seen her numerous times since then. And her name is Sandy Slinkard. And welcome to the show, Sandy.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's great to have you here. And as soon as I met Sandy, I was totally you got to hear her story. I was totally blown away by it, and it's just amazing. It's an amazing story of struggle and coming back, and so I love to share those kind of stories because I know so many entrepreneurs, they feel stuck. We get these really minor things that really hold us back, and Sandy's been through a lot. So Sandy, I'm going to get you to tell your story if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind at all. If it's going to help anybody, yeah, I don't mind. November, it was just before Thanksgiving of 2012, I was in a horrendous car accident. I'm supposed to be dead. And we were hit behind. I was at an SRES class. I was on my way home. We were on the Interstate I-65. And the traffic stopped, we stopped, and I remember leaning forward and saying, I hope the traffic coming up that they stop. All of a sudden, it was like an explosion. I mean, that's what I remember from the accident is an explosion. And the report and the girl that was driving the car later told me that we were hit behind with a car doing 80 miles an hour. And that it was pretty messed up. She took pictures of it. And there were 7 accidents that sprung from our accident. And there's pictures of me on a gurney laying on the road. I'm completely covered up because they thought I was dead. And I was in a coma for about 6 months. Then I had amnesia for about 6 months. I lost almost a whole year of my life. And then short-term memory. And the doctor said that I probably would not be able to do anything that would substantiate my life, my lifestyle, or anything because I couldn't remember. It was like the movie 51st Dates, because everything I had to repeat over and over again for me to even remember, like to brush my teeth. I had a note that my mom written, when you get up, you go brush your teeth, that type thing. And I had, it was just real bad for about 6 months. And I was a real estate agent with Keller Williams at the time. And for that 6 months, I could not drive a car with a short-term memory. I really couldn't drive because I didn't know where I was going. And once I got there, I couldn't remember where I was supposed to be going back to. So they wouldn't even let me drive. I mean, it was so bad. And when I got to the office, when I finally got to do my second drive, I went to the office. And of course, I had written directions, what to do, how to get back home. And these 2 agents, friends of mine, said, you've got to watch this video. And it was Kevin Ward. It was his listing presentation. And I listened to it. And I don't know, there was just something about it that hit me. And I just started writing it like crazy. I was just writing and writing and writing. And I would play it back and I'd pick it up and write some more and everything. And about 2 weeks after that, I went on this other agent took me on a listing presentation, and I started reading this because I couldn't remember it. So I just read it. I said, I've got something I want to read to you. And they hired me. It was a $390 some odd thousand house. And they hired me on the spot because they said that I had just pushed myself just to learn what I could. And it's gone from there. When I don't know how I started receiving emails from Kevin, and he introduced me to the 100-day challenge. And he said, "You've got to take it." And I said, "Okay." Didn't know what I was doing. I said, "Okay." And when I got into it, of course, we were supposed to memorize the listing presentation. All I remember, it was having what I had written down. I couldn't memorize. I couldn't memorize 2 sentences and put them together. And my head, oh, my head hurt so bad. And from the accident, I have ocular migraines. And I cannot be around bright, bright lights. And that's the reason I'm in a dark room. Even through my own house, if I'm going to go to a bright room, I have to put sunglasses on. And my eyes will hurt so bad. I feel like that my head is just going to explode, but it's not in my head, it's my eyes. So when I was trying to learn this, I had got myself to such a state. I was crying, my head was hurting, my eyes were hurting. I said, I can't do it. And I just kept forcing myself, where I actually learned part of the front page of, there's I think 7 pages, 6 or 7 pages, and I actually learned the first page. Not good, but I learned it.
Wow.
And when I sent it to Kevin, I said, I'm trying so hard. And he said, you did this much. He said, you can do more. And so little by little, and I have to read scripts every day. I cannot just let them sit there and pretend to me, you know this. It's because deep down, I know it, but my brain doesn't know it right now. I've been to several doctors. I've had eye checkups. I've had surgery, and they're not any better, but they're not any worse. So that makes me feel good. And I just keep working on my brain. But I'm determined. In my formal life, I was actually a VP of a big company, and I negotiated contracts all the time. And if I can do that, then I can pull myself back. And I am going to do it. I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to do it.
Well, I mean, you've already made some amazing progress, because I know when you were in that, for those of you who don't know, Kevin Ward is a good friend of mine, and he teaches realtors how to get more yeses and more successes. And but I know you were in his 100-day challenge, and you crushed. How many listings did you get?
The first time I took it was 22 listings, and most of those happened almost at the end, because I had been working and talking to these people, and then all of a sudden there was just a plethora of people that said, we're going to help you, we're going to list with you. And that's how I ended up with 22.
That is truly amazing. And I did you win that challenge? You're certainly up there, right?
I won that challenge. The second challenge I went on, I had partnered up with somebody, and it was her assistant, and she commingled everything as to what she was listing, I was listing. And then when she started posting it, come find out that the material was ambiguous. But when I pulled it all back and it was for me, and at that time, that was when my mom had died, and I was doing all of her estate, and then my sister passed away from cancer of the spine, and so I was helping her husband do her stuff. So I did not list as many, and I had to take off time to take care of that. So that pushed me back, but I ended up with like 23 listings, which it should have been more.
Wow, that is extremely impressive. Was there ever time, I guess, when before you started to have some of the success and rebuild, was there ever time where you felt like giving up, or did you have that fighting spirit all along where it's like, hey, I'm going to make this work?
Well, I had my pity party about me, just me. I was the only one there. And it was like, why am I putting myself through this? Why am I putting myself through this pressure? Why? And even at one time, I wouldn't even get out of bed. I mean, I was just pity. And then I don't know, I just woke up one day and I looked up at the ceiling and I thought, excuse my French, what in the hell am I doing? This isn't me. I'm a fighter. I'm not here just to wither away like a raisin. I'm a fighter. And so I got up and now I'm trying to just catch up on everything.
Yeah, it was
So,
obviously a reason why you survived, and you know, you made it that far, and it's just so inspiring to see that not only are you, you know, not only are you surviving, but you're thriving. And you're, you know, in that challenge, you're up against all these other people that they have their memory, and you came in number one. I mean, that is just so impressive. But I think the more impressive thing is, you know, every time I see you, you're always smiling and you're always happy, and you're always inspiring other people. And it's like, you know, how can you feel bad if you're having a bad day? How can you feel bad knowing what you've been through and how much you've achieved? You know, how could somebody else? It's pretty hard to feel sad for yourself when I hear your story and how much you've been through. It's just such an inspiration. And I know a lot of the other realtors that are at Kevin Ward's events are definitely inspired by you as well. It's not just me. We're all very just blown away. And I just keep seeing your progression. Every time I see you, you're at a higher level each time.
yeah, you know, I know you and I had talked, and yeah, I have a problem. I know I do. Um, I'm going to get over it one way or the other. And if the doctors did tell me that if I get severe migraines and it's just continuous, I could lose my sight. I could go 100% blind. So that's one of the fears that I have, in, you know, kind of sort of in the back of my head. Plus I still have severe head trauma. I'll have that for the rest of my life. I've got major bruising back here in my head. Have you ever had a raindrop hit you on the head and you feel it kind of trickling down? It feels real funny.
Yeah.
But it's on the inside of my head.
Oh, wow.
And then the back of my head will just start pounding and it stays sore. Of course, you've never had a ponytail, but if you pull your hair back real tight with a rubber band and you let it go, your head is sore. That's what this spot is, and I'll have that for the rest of my life. It's 100%. It's bruising that will never go away. Is exactly what it is. There's no way they can put a tube in. There's nothing they can do. They have checked everything. So I've got that, but you know, it's like I told you. I look at these people that come back from the war that they've got shrapnel in their face. They've stepped on mines. They've had their cars blown up. I mean, they've had ungodly things happen to them. So what gives me the right to go woo, poor is me? They've got a lot more to overcome than what I do. They really do. So I feel very, very humble to them.
Yeah, well, you know what? Everybody has their struggles, and everybody, to them, their struggles are significant, and to other people, you know, we might look at it and say it's, you know, insignificant. Maybe we downplay it, but we all have our own things that are holding us back, and that's why I love to interview people that have been through a lot and come out on the other side successful, and you know, taking something that was very adversarial that, you know, I think if that, you know, would have happened to me, I don't know that I would have the same amount of drive and ambition and the ability to come back the way you did, for example. I love to hear stories like that, and it just puts everything in perspective, so that, you know, for the entrepreneurs that are watching this, if you're having a bad day or maybe one of your deals aren't going quite right or whatever it is, you know, all these things are really, I mean, if we're above ground, everything else is pretty minor compared to that option.
Well, I don't feel like I'm anything special. I never have. Um, but if what has happened to me of rediscovering myself and having to start my business all over again, and when I say rediscover, is because I lost so much in that accident. I'm actually having to relearn so many things, and people walk up to me and I'll say, I know you, but I'm sorry. I just I don't know who you are. And so I'm having to redo a lot of stuff. I still have short-term memory, and I'll probably have it the rest of my life, but I'm battling it. And I'm writing things. I've got ledgers full of notes and whatever. And I think if something ever happened to you personally, I think you would be a fighter also. You are a fighter. Everybody is a fighter. They just have to get over their pity party.
Right, right. Well, I find that a lot of my lowest moments in my life are actually some of the biggest things that ever happened to me. And at the time, they did not seem like blessings, I'll tell you that. But they turned out in hindsight to be blessings in disguise. And you know, I've had some really big learning lessons and also things that I can pass on to other people to help them if they're stuck in a place where I was at one point. And so that's why I think it's so important for people to share their experiences and so other people can learn from it and not necessarily have to go through it.
And you were a fighter. You told me what you went through, and you were a fighter. You were bound and determined that you were going to move on and you were going to make something of yourself. And look at you. You did. And I'm proud of you.
Well, I'm inspired by you. And I wanted to ask you, though, do you have so obviously you lost a lot of your memory. Do you remember stuff, though, like maybe back to your childhood? Do you remember any of that? Is that all totally wiped out now, or do you have some recollection of some of your past?
Very little, very little.
Wow, that'd be so
The
bizarre.
biggest thing that hurt was when they said I didn't recognize my mother. My father had already passed, but they said, I'm sorry.
Ah, no problem.
I think when they told me I didn't recognize my mom, that really hurt me.
Mm.
But my father had passed away. I think it was 2002, I think. Um, and they said I had been taking care of my mom and taken her to her doctors and stuff like that. So me to have lost that and had to start knowing my mother all over again, that was a big thing for me. That really, really upset me that I would forget my mother.
Yeah, that would be kind of disheartening to find that. So we're going to wrap this up here pretty quick. But would you have any final notes? Would there be anything you would say to somebody who's maybe going through some kind of struggle of their own, maybe as in their entrepreneurial venture, or maybe in their health, or they've got some challenge? What would be your advice to somebody who's facing some sort of challenge right now?
I think they need to look deep within themselves and see who and what they really are. Um, Everybody's got a fight of survival. Otherwise, they wouldn't be where they're at. And all they need to do is build on that survival mode and say, with the grace of God, I'm going to do this. I am going to make it. I don't know how, but I'm going to make it. And just put yourself within that frame of mind and put you with people that knows your struggle, and they are there for you to just kind of lean on sometimes.
That's some great advice. And Sandy, it's such a pleasure having you here. I always love seeing you and talking to you, and
Same here.
you're brightening up the room wherever you go. I love that, and I'm very, very happy to be able to call you my friend.
You just don't know. When I come home, I tell Greg, I say, let me tell you what Mike and I did, or let me tell you what we talked about. And so I think you're such a wonderful person, such a good friend.
You're very sweet. So I want to wish you continued success. I'm going to be following you, and I'm sure I'll see you again really soon. And thanks again for coming on the show and enlightening and inspiring everybody.
You're so welcome, and thank you for having me. And if anybody wants to talk to me, you can give them my email address, and I'll be more than happy to help them in any way that I possibly can. I would reach out to them.
And what city do you live in, by the way, in case anybody needs a realtor? What city are you in again?
I'm an North Alabama, Southern Middle Tennessee real estate agent with Leading Edge.
Okay. Do you have an email address or some way that people can contact?
Mhm. It is probably the easiest one because nobody can ever spell my last name, is Busy Blonde 3, and that's BUSYBLONDE, the number 3, at gmail.com. If you notice, I had to close my eyes because I have to see it in my
And I can't remember stuff at the best of times either, so don't feel bad.
But yeah, that would be the easiest one is my Gmail address. Facebook, they can friend me, So yes, not
Yeah,
a problem.
that's great. Well, Sandy is a phenomenal realtor, so if you need any real estate help and you're in her neck of the woods, definitely look her up. I want to thank you again, Sandy, for being here. I want to thank you guys, our viewers, for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing.
I'm part of Kevin's inner circle too.
Oh, pardon me.
I'm part of Kevin's inner circle,
Yeah, that's right. So,
the elite group. Yeah.
and for those any of you realtors that are being lazy and you're not getting your deals done, saying be inspired. She is out kicking butt, and she's in Kevin Ward's inner circle, which is his mastermind. And if you're a realtor, you should really go check out Kevin Ward. But thanks again for everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you again on another episode of Entrepreneurs Making a Difference.
Thanks, Mike.